think that I'm a huge a-hole for kicking her out of my party instead of trying to work things out. They wanted to take Keith somewhere out of sight while me and her talked. But to me, what's the point of us working it out if that's how she feels towards my son? This has now caused conflict since I escalated the feud by making her leave instead of actually talking to her. Am I wrong for kicking my sister out and not resolving things?
What is the weirdest thing you've seen happen at a friend's house that they thought was normal? When I was younger, my dad died. My mom remarried and had 2 kids. I was moved into the basement, unfinished basement. I didn't think anything of it since I was 10. I had a sheet blocking my area from the laundry area. It had bare concrete walls, wood beams, and piping across the ceiling and cement flooring.
I have a best friend named Tina who I've known most of my life. We've had a strong friendship from middle school all the way until we graduated from the same college. We've always been there for each other and I tell her pretty much everything. Back in junior year of high school, a guy named Rod sexually assaulted me at a house party. He never apologized for it and it put me in a deep downward spiral to the point where I almost wanted to drop out in order to never see his face again. I told Tina about it and she did everything she could to support me. Fast forward to early 2020. Tina and her boyfriend Josh announced they were getting engaged and Tina wanted me to be the maid of honor. I was beyond excited to do it. We've always talked about being each other's maids of honor. There was another detail though. Josh had a similar friendship history with his best man and they thought it would be adorable if the maid of honor and best man worked together on everything and were their own second package. I have a best friend named Tina who I've known most of my life. We've had a strong friendship from middle school all the way until we graduated from the same college. We've always been there for each other and I tell her pretty much everything. Back in junior year of high school, a guy named Rod sexually assaulted me at a house party. He never apologized for it and it put me in a deep downward spiral to the point where I almost wanted to drop out in order to never see his face again. I told Tina about it and she did everything she could to support me. Fast forward to early 2020. Tina and her boyfriend Josh announced they were getting engaged and Tina wanted me to be the maid of honor. I was beyond excited to do it. We've always talked about being each other's maids of honor. There was another detail though. Josh had a similar friendship history with his best man and they thought it would be adorable if the maid of honor and best man worked together on everything and were their own second package.
Bring it up. My grandparents asked what I meant. My parents told me it wasn't the correct time or place to bring it up and I embarrassed Aunt Mara. So, am I the asshole for kissing my friend's brother without his consent during a truth or dare? Yesterday, I was supposed to spend the night at my friend's house with some of my classmates, and we were playing Truth or Dare. There really is no reason for us to choose truth since we already know a lot about each other, so we mostly just went with dares. It was pretty fun, and we had some weird challenges. I was sitting next to my friend's brother, and when it was my turn, a classmate challenged me. Anything we said. At my limit, I went into the other room and I called the police. Since we live in a small town, the police officer, a good friend of ours, came right over. He walked up to Tom and said there had been complaints of trespassing, which Tom responded by saying he was invited. The officer looked at me and I assured him that we had asked him to go home. Then the officer asked if he wanted to be charged with...
There was bio. It was really new, so we didn't tell anyone yet. Then she started saying, "How could you do that to me? And I liked him, and you knew that." I didn't know what she was talking about, to be honest, because she never told me about her liking Jason. We had a whole feud about it and stopped talking. And then she messaged me again about a day or two ago saying how she didn't want to be friends. I told her that was alright because I knew the friendship wasn't going to last very long. So, am I the asshole?
Okay, so story time. By the way, follow @glam by Helen on Instagram and send me your stories. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. There was this girl, we'll call her Braylon, who had just moved in next to me. This girl was in the same school as I was and the same grade. Definitely didn't take her long to get popular though. I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not like this B word. I think you know what I'm saying. I just had a feeling from the moment I met her. There was this one.
Used a heater and dehumidifier because it was cold and humid. When I used the heater, my parents would bake my sheeted area around the bed so it would heat up the space quicker. Parents didn't allow any of my friends over, and my brother and sister were never allowed in the room. Distant family members also never stayed over, and when we had family gatherings, I was told to go to the guest room instead of my room while they were there. I thought, cool, I have a huge room and no one can mess it up. My family would go on vacations yearly without me from when I was 12 till 18. I was the dog and house watcher. During one of those vacations, when I was 17, I invited a friend to come over. They pointed out how fucked up it was since there were bedrooms fully furnished with TVs for my brother and sister, a guest room fully furnished as well with a TV, and how I was in the basement with sheets for walls and bathroom mats on the floor. I completely dismissed it because it was normal to me.
I said I was busy. He complained, then ended the call, then called me back 30 minutes later telling me to get home ASAP because he injured his arm and couldn't move it. I freaked out and went home quickly to find it was actually a lie to get me to skip work so I could watch the movie with him. It really pissed me off. He did it again.
First meeting with this woman, and as soon as I got into my car, I burst into tears until I got home. I told my boyfriend I needed some time. He went into apology overload, and this started by sending me flowers to my office every day and leaving me messages. He said he spoke with his mom and promised this would never happen again. With this reassurance, I
busting out laughing. Not at her, but her mom. And the second she called me a fat B word, I screamed that out loud, and my friend yelled I'm the friend she went with. FYI, I weighed 184 pounds at the time. And she never spoke to me literally ever again. So about 2 weeks after that little incident, it was summer break and it was Friday. So for
Days later, saying his car broke down and I needed to come pick him up. Then I found out he lied to me to get out of work so he could take me out for lunch. I spoke to him about this and told him to stop doing this, and he apologized and said he won't repeat those shameful acts. 5 days ago, he called me while I was working, telling me to come take him to the hospital because he fell from the stairs and injured his ankle. I hung up on him thinking he was lying.
It was my sister's fiance, ex now, that she was seeing behind our backs. It hurt. It was the worst pain ever, but for my son's sake, I tried to get past it. I come from a family of half-siblings too, so I wanted my son to be close to his half-brother, Keith. Not only were my ex and my sister's ex horrible lying cheaters, but also terrible parents. Both of them